One Zambia, one nation. Good evening and thank you so much for joining me with the news at 18 hours on TV2. To present it, my name is Katwishibwade. Let's begin by looking at the top stories. Police in Lusaka have arrested former MMD President Nevas Mumba. A 22-year-old housewoman of Kanyama West has stabbed her husband to death. And in sport, the Zambia national netball team has scooped the nation's Foods World Netball Championship in Singapore. And now the news in detail. Police in Lusaka have arrested former MMD President Nevas Mumba. Dr. Mumba, who is in custody at Woodlands Police Station, has been charged with criminal trespass. Police have since denied Dr. Mumba bond and will remain in custody until Monday. Earlier in the day, police searched Dr. Mumba's residence in Kabulonga. Police spokesperson Rea Monga says police are interrogating Dr. Mumba over a criminal matter. Scores of UPND supporters will include Party Vice President for Administration Geoffrey Mwamba, sympathizers Guy Scott, Sylvia Masewo, and Mazabuka MP Gary Nkombo were on hand to give solidarity to Dr. Mumba. Government has declared Tuesday, September 13th, a public holiday and Monday, September 12th, 2016, a half-working day. Secretary to the Cabinet, Roland Musiska, says this is in view of the inauguration ceremony of President-elect Edgar Lungu and Vice President-elect Inauguration, which takes place on Tuesday at the National Hero Stadium in Lusaka. Dr. Musiska says all institutions and business providing essential and entertainment services are expected to make adequate arrangements to ensure that provisions of such services are not disrupted. He says members of the public wishing to attend the inauguration ceremony at the National Hero Stadium in Lusaka are encouraged to make their own travel and accommodation arrangements. Dr. Msiska says those who are unable to travel to Lusaka should follow proceedings on ZNBC television, which will be transmitting live from 08 hours. He says government is calling upon all the general public to celebrate this important national event in a responsible and peaceful manner. And Inspector General of Police Kakoma Kanganja says adequate security measures are in place for the inauguration ceremony of President-elect Edgar Lungu and Vice President Inauguration. Mr. Kanganja says in view of this high-profile nature of the event, people are advised to be at the National Hero Stadium early for security clearance and other formalities. It says access to the stadium will be on first-come basis, and that once the stadium is filled to capacity, all gates will be closed. He says the police service has been informed by the Office of the Secretary to Cabinet of alternative venues where people can follow proceedings on big screens. Mr. Kanganja says on the Copper Belt, people can follow the proceedings from the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium, while in Lusaka, Koloma Stadium in Charleston, and the showgrounds will be public viewing places. He says access to the designated VVIP sections of the venues will be strictly by card, and that any unauthorized attempt to gain access to these sections shall be sternly dealt with. Mr. Kanganja says no offensive articles will be allowed into the stadium, including any type of bag or bottle, and that no contravention of traffic regulations will be tolerated. Mr. Kanganja has said in a media statement available to ZNBC News today that all political party leaders and the general public should adhere to the set guidelines. Meanwhile, the Patriotic Front says the inauguration of President Edgar Lungu will go on as planned on Tuesday, September 13th. This follows the High Court decision to throw away an application by UPND President Hakainde Hichilema for the court to halt the inauguration ceremony of President-elect Edgar Lungu. PF chairperson for Legal, Tutu Angulube, says there is no court process that has directed otherwise. Mr. Lungu has since urged Zambians not to worry because the inauguration of President Edgar Lungu will go on as planned on Tuesday next week. But lawyers representing Mr. Hishlema said they are not happy with the decision of the High Court. One of the lawyers, Keith Mumba, said his client will appeal to the Supreme Court. Hector Simfukwe now reports.
The opposition UPND has suffered a legal setback. This was after High Court Judge Mwirachitabo refused to grant them an injunction to halt the inauguration ceremony of President Edgar Lungu. UPND President Hakainde Hichilema went to the High Court after the Constitutional Court dismissed his application against the election of President Edgar Lungu following the lapse of the 14 days period in which the court should have heard his petition. In the High Court, the petitioner alleged that his human rights were violated as the Constitutional Court did not hear his evidence before dismissing the petition. But the respondents argued to the contrary, saying it was wrong for the petitioner to rush to the High Court because the decisions of the Constitutional Court are final. In delivering the ruling, High Court Judge Mwirachitabo dismissed the application by the UPND, saying he had no jurisdiction to grant the reliefs that the party had sought. Judge Tabo also noted that the application by the Attorney General to deem the petitioners as vexatious litigants was properly before his court. In his application, Mr. Ricardo Kararuka had alleged that Mr. Hichilema has been moving from one court to the other, seeking similar reliefs, the position that the petitioners dismissed. The court could, however, not enforce the application by the Attorney General because the petitioner has a case emanating from the petition before other courts. The ruling PF welcomed the decision by the court and said the inauguration ceremony will go on Tuesday as planned.
So the inauguration of the president will proceed next week Tuesday, and the rest of business will continue as usual. Because you might also be aware that as a result of these petitions, we the parliamentarians have not reported at Parliament. The councillors that were elected have not been, inducted. And a lot of things, decisions, waiting for the appointment of ministers. For example, the closure of Movie TV awaits the decision of the Minister of Information. Everything has come to a standstill.
But the decision by Justice Chitabo did not go well with the UPND, who have said they will appeal to the Supreme Court.
Protect something from greater harm, to secure, to safeguard it before the greater harm happens. So if you're talking about securing the enforcement, you are talking about an interim relief. It's as simple as that. So the Supreme Court was right in saying you must hear the petition before you talk about interim relief.
The Constitutional Court on Monday hear a case in which the UPND has asked the court whether President Edgar Lungu can be sworn in without being declared as winner by the Constitutional Court. The matter could not take off on Friday because the opposition UPND had not served the documents on Chief Justice Irene Mambirima and her Deputy Marvin Mwanamwambwa, whom they have sued. Constitutional Court Vice President Mugeni Mulenga adjourned the matter so that Mr. Hichilema's lawyers can serve the documents on the two respondents. Hector Simfukwe, TV2 News in Lusaka.
Police in Lusaka have arrested a 22-year-old woman of Kanyama West after stabbing her husband to death after a marital dispute. The woman is alleged to have found her husband with another woman and later stabbed him with a knife. Police spokesperson Rea Monga said the incident happened last night between 23 hours and midnight. Lufola Nkowani now gives us details in this report.
Loved Thomas Musonda, 30, is alleged to have been stabbed to death by his 22-year-old wife, Jane Tembo, in a marital dispute. At the funeral house in Lusaka's Kanyama West area, family members are too shocked over what has happened.
Kwacha kuseni mwana nuza timami tamu wampeza ni wakufa zona tachoka tampeza hapa bamugoneka ichi chaso
pamande nenze naye futa nadandaula semsemu antenza nachokapo mkazi so ndiye pamena nabwera apa manje nolo nikachoka namwa ni mamwa moba manimangirira kuyamba kunishapula.
And police spokesperson Ray Hamonga has confirmed the development to TV2 News.
Yes, I'd like to confirm that today, the 10th of September, we did receive a report to the effect that a housewife, aged 22 years, by the name of Jane Tembo, did murder her husband by way of stabbing him with a knife. And the husband has been identified as Thompson Musonda, which was aged 30 years. And we have since deposited the body in a UTH mortuary.
The suspect is in police custody, while the body of the deceased is lying in the University Teaching Hospital mortuary, awaiting post-mortem and burial. This little girl has become fatherless under circumstances that could have been avoided. Lufola Nkowani, TV2 News, in Lusaka.
Government is concerned with the increase in the number of road accidents along the Ndola-Kitwe dual carriageway. About 20 people have died in road accidents on the dual carriageway in the last 1 month. And motorists and residents have appealed to the Road Transport and Safety Agency, RATSA, to intensify patrols and put speed humps in selected portions of the road to safeguard human life. You're still watching the main news at 18 hours on TV2 with me, Katushi Wadia. We now go for our first commercial break, and still to come, we do have lots of stories. Keep watching. Welcome back, and we continue with the rest of the news. Government says it is making progress in establishing a full-fledged heart disease hospital at the University Teaching Hospital, UTH. Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary Peter Mwaba says this is in an effort to reduce the number of patients that are being sent abroad for treatment. Dr. Mwaba said this in a speech read for him by UTH Managing Director Ben Chira during the celebrations of 21 children who underwent heart operations in India. Hector Simfukwe now reports.
Someone with a heart gave these children a chance for a better health. These children had heart complications with no hope of accessing medical attention abroad. But the Rotary Club of Unkwazi, Gift of Life International and other stakeholders paid for the medical bills of 21 children across the country. These patients received their treatment in India. And today, a party was organized for the beneficiaries of the free medical services and their parents. University Teaching Hospital Superintendent Dr. Ben Chirwa was the guest of honor at the function.
The message is that government has continued to send patients for treatment abroad, including those requiring open heart surgery. This continues, but the long-term strategy for government has been to localize the operations, and these now are being done in UTH. But as was indicated, the need and the demand for this is long. Hence, we appreciate the collaboration that has come in, the help that has come in to supplement government effort.
Speaking at the same function, Kwazi Rotary Club President Godfrey Mwanza thanked the cooperating partners for the gesture.
The above partners worked in unbelievable cooperation to send these kids to India. In total, we sent 21 kids to India. The cost is somewhere in the region of $124,000 US. These funds were put together by several Rotary clubs in the USA and Rotary International in an effort spearheaded by Gift of Life International, I should add.
Because in Zambia, you have over 2,000 children a year born with congenital heart defect, and less than, and maybe some of the doctors here will know the numbers better than I, but not many of them get helped. And within 2 months, we helped 20 children, and we showed that it is possible, that the care is possible and the hope is here. So I just want you to know how much love there was and there is for you and for your children. And many of the people you have heard speak today did this out of love.
Parents Parents of the beneficiaries of the free medical services to India are this to say.
I think that as a parent, when you're told that your child has a heart problem, your life stops a little bit. And then when you talk to the doctors at UTH and they tell you, actually the final solution is an operation and we can't do it here in Zambia, you feel so helpless. You begin to think, how do I save money? How do I ensure that my child actually gets this operation and gets well?
There is need to quickly equip UTH with equipment so that many more patients of heart conditions can be helped. Hector Simfokwe, TV2 News in Lusaka.
The Zambia Environmental Management Agency, ZEMA, has warned that used baby diapers can cause cancer if not properly disposed of. ZEMA spokesperson Irene Chipili says diapers have a plastic such that when bent contains dioxins and furans, which can cause cancerous diseases. Ms. Chipili, however, assured mothers that diapers are safe and only dangerous depending on how they are disposed of. More in this report. From afar, it looks like ordinary heaps of uncollected garbage, but a closer look reveals something else. And a further inspection reveals something unacceptable. These are used baby diapers which have found themselves in the system of the Lusaka Water and Sewerage Company. And now they are flushed out from the system to prevent blockage of the sewer lines. A sign baby diapers are wrongly disposed of.
As a water utility, we are very concerned with the situation because we get roughly about 15 tons of solid waste, which most of it is actually baby diapers that are thrown in the system. This is a sign that people actually don't know how to dispose these diapers.
But the Zambia Environmental Management Agency, ZEMA, has warned that baby diapers can cause cancer if wrongly disposed of.
However, the diapers are manufactured in such a way that the absorbent itself has a plastic layer to help with their use. And from the scientific point of view, plastics, when bent, for instance, produce what is referred to as certain emissions referred to as dioxins and furans, which when as human beings we're exposed to those emissions, they contribute to problems such as the respiratory problems, and they've also been found to contribute to some of the cancerous illnesses.
She assured mothers that diapers are safe on babies but only dangerous depending on how they are disposed of.
The use of diapers in terms of public health are safe for use. The problem that we have with diapers currently is disposal, because as a country we don't have facilities for specifically to manage that types of waste.
ZEMA has since called for proper disposal of baby diapers. Diapers are very convenient, especially for mothers who have migrated from the old nappies which required to be washed and recycled. But with this warning, parents are advised to take precautions on how they dispose of used baby diapers. Katwishi Wadia, TV2 News in Lusaka. Now, service organizations have been urged to make a difference in their communities across the country. Lions District 413 Zambia past Governor Christine Kasonde says Lions clubs need to make an impact in communities where they operate from. Ms. Kasonde says it is sad that some communities are not aware of the presence of Lions clubs because the service organizations have not offered any service. She was speaking at the joint installation of boards for Zone 7 at the Arakan Barracks last night. Those installed as club presidents are Efim Pande from the Lions Club of Long Acres, Richard Sakala from the Lions Club of Fairview, Grace Kalichini from Chongwe, Matilda Katengwe from Mulungushi, and Masio Chilombo of Lions Club of Ibex. And District 413 Zambia Governor Danis Yambo says the Lions Clubs International has offered to give more funding to Zambia for measles campaign. Mr. Ziambo said the Lions Club International, which is the supreme body of Lions Club, is happy with the previous measles campaign done by the Lions Club in Zambia. Earlier, Mr. Sakala, who represented newly installed club presidents, said the boards are mindful of the challenges facing the Lions District 413 Zambia. You're still watching the news at 18 hours. We now take our second commercial break, and I'll be back with international and sports news. Keep watching. Welcome back, and we continue with the news. And in foreign news, U.S. Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton has called half of Donald Trump's supporters a basket of deplorables. Speaking at a fundraiser, she said they were racist, sexist, xenophobic, and Islamophobic. She then went on to say the rest of the Republican nominee supporters were just desperate for change. Mr. Trump said the comments were insulting to millions of amazing, hard-working people. Polls released earlier this week suggest Mr. Trump is gaining on Mrs. Clinton, and the rivals are neck and neck in the key battleground states of Ohio and Florida. In sport, the Zambia national netball team has scooped the National Foods World Netball Championship in Singapore. This was after the Chipolopolo Queens beat Papua New Guinea in the finals 65-49 to maintain the unbeaten run at the tournament. The Zambian Queens accounted themselves very well at the tournament, where they were considered underdogs. Zambia beat Botswana, Canada, Singapore, Ireland, and Papua New Guinea at a Six Nations tournament. The win pushes Zambia into contentions to qualify for the Commonwealth Games. Zambia's goal shooter, Lucy Jerry, accounted herself very well with her accuracy, which left the crowd applauding each time she scored. The first group of the team is expected in the country tomorrow, while the last one arrives on Monday. The Zambian team was hit with financial challenges prior to departure, forcing the team to travel only with the coach but without a team doctor and other technical staff. Still in sport, MTN Fuzz Super League leaders Zanaco have maintained their stay at the summit of the table with a 4-0 bashing over mighty Mufulira Wanderers. This was in a Week 25 double-header encounter played at the Sunset Stadium in Lusaka this afternoon. The win moves Zanaco to 58 points, 5 better than second-placed Nkana, who beat Lusaka Dynamos 2-0 in the early kickoff at the same venue. Power Dynamos in Kitwe demolished Green Buffaloes 4-1 to keep their title hopes alive, while Nchanga Rangers in Chingola beat Nakambala Leopards 1-0. Red Arrows picked maximum points away in Choma as they beat Green Eagles 1-0. On Friday, Napsa Stars came from behind to hold Kabwe Warriors 1-0 at the Godfrey Yukachitalu Stadium in Kabwe. On Sunday, defending champions Zesco United will take on Blackpool in Mufulira. Nkwazi host Forest Rangers at Independence Stadium in Lusaka at 13 hours, while Lusaka Tigers face Lumwana Radiants in the second match at the same venue. As we end the news, let's take another look at stories making headlines. Police in Lusaka have arrested former MMD President Nevas Mumba. Dr. Mumba, who is in police custody at Woodlands Police Station, has been charged with criminal trespass. A 22-year-old woman of Kanyama West has stabbed her husband to death. Janet Tembo stabbed her husband, Thomas Musonda, aged 30, using a knife after a domestic quarrel. And in sport, the Zambia national netball team has scooped Nations Foods World Netball Championship in Singapore. This was after the Chipolopolo Queens beat Papua New Guinea in the finals 65-49 to maintain their unbeaten run at the tournament. Well, we can only say congratulations to the Shipolopolo Queens, and on that note, we end the news. Be sure to join me for the next news bulletin at 20 hours later in the night. Until then, it's bye-bye and good evening.